Nothing is wrong with your set. I repeat, nothing is wrong with your set.
I'm Len Adler, and sitting next to me is my wife, Beatrice, and I have some very fond memories of the library, and it's hard to believe that it all started 25 years ago, but it is indeed a pleasure to be here today and see how well it has grown and prospered.
It's wonderful to look around this very beautiful building and remember the beginnings in the basement of the old town hall. We want to wish the library many, many more years of wonderful successes, growth. And it was our pleasure to play the small part in this wonderful building.
I might add that I still have my card, which is number 1, since I was the first president of the Board of Trustees, and I kind of retired it in the way an athlete retires his number because of the memories of the work that it took to get that card, and something I always cherish.
My name is Nancy Green, and I think I know most of you. I'm the director of the library today. Unfortunately, our board president, John Kenny, couldn't be here this afternoon to welcome you, so I'm going to have that honor. We have a lot to celebrate with our 25 years here. Today we're in the 5th home that the library has held since it started in 1963. One of the ways that we decided to celebrate was by giving out prizes to all the library lovers that are here today. And Mr. Lukac, would you be kind enough to pick our first prize winner?
Are these to be contributed, or?
No, these are mine and June Clark's.
Okay. And the winner is 347034. 034.
Okay, we have a gift for you from Mary Higgins Clark. Okay, thank you. I've been studying the history of the library that was written by the first director, Louise Weedman. And it really makes a fascinating and heartwarming story, and it shows what a determined and hard-working group the founders really were. Before the 1960s, Township residents didn't have any library in town at all. Township residents used the Westwood Library. Children could use it for free, and adults used it for $2 a year. And the Township Council supported their library with $3,000 a year. I believe that the idea of organizing a community library came from the Contemporary Women's Club, and in 1960, the Library Association was formed. Its members worked miracles in fundraising and collecting used books. I think that it was during that period that they started having the annual carnivals, which were held for a week. And those carnivals would collect $2,000 or $3,000 a year and would be staffed by as many as 250 volunteers. And they used most of the funds that they collected for buying new books for Children's Story Hour, and most of the used books that they collected were for the adult collection. Well, soon the need became apparent for somebody to organize the collection, and Louise Weedman, a township resident and certified librarian, was hired for a token $15 per week, and she cataloged over 1,700 books in her home. St. Louise is a hard act to follow for any director, I can assure you. Volunteers all over town typed cards and pockets in their home, and the library's dedication was on March 17th, 1963. And the library opened up in its first home, which was a 12 by 15-foot room in the road department garage. where the library remained for 3 years. The furniture consisted of one small desk and a chair for whatever volunteer, or if Louise happened to be in that day, for the staff to use. There was no room for reference, no room for browsing, and no seating for patrons. The basement of the current administration building became the library's second home. Now, I think that this will show you how far $2,000 could go in that day. $2,000 from the town council provided lighting, heating, wiring, paneling, plumbing, tile flooring, partitioning, and painting. This location served for almost 3 years, and it seated 14 people. Trading stamps collected by the residents bought story hour furniture, and the Women's Club and the Contemporary Women's Club donated atlas and dictionary stands and furniture for other patrons. In 1966, the Great Books Discussion Group was formed under the leadership of Dolores Schumann. Mrs. Schumann still leads the group 22 years later, and new members are always welcome to join. Great Books meets alternate Wednesdays in our staff room. Well, unfortunately, flooding was a consistent problem in the basement library. Children coming to story hour had to be carried over the puddles, and sometimes the library had to close down during rainy spells. Then termites were discovered, and all the books had to be removed from the shelves for the exterminators to come in. The Library Association really felt the need for regular annual support through municipalization, and the first referendum was held in 1967. It failed by 7 votes, but the council still supported the library in 1968 with $13,000, even though the library was not municipalized. The library's third move came when Wild Ridge Pharmacy offered a former drugstore in the shopping center. The 2-year lease provided 6 months rent-free, with a rent of $325 per month thereafter. Naturally, the Library Association snapped up this excellent offer, and the move was made in 1968. They had to move 8,500 books and the furniture, and they used scores of volunteers, including the Boy Scouts. A second library referendum was successful in 1968 for municipalization, probably because the library now had a prominent location. And there was a lot of campaigning by Virginia Hunt and Leonard Adler, who gave presentations to organizations all over town. The first library board consisted of Mayor Edwin Green, Superintendent of Schools J.A. Campbell, and Leonard Adler, Ruth Densberger, Virginia Hunt, Walter Munt, and Gerald Fox. The Library Association at that time became the Friends of the Library, and its first president and longtime supporter was Rosemary Lukac. The library's fourth move came in 1970 when the lease expired and the rent doubled. The library was able to rent only the back half of the store, and a stereo shop took over the front quarters. For 6 months, the library was practically lost to borrowers. Old borrowers thought that it had moved, and new borrowers weren't even aware that there was a library. And the need became even stronger for a municipal library building. In 1970, the Friends of the Library were able to present $17,000 through their fundraising efforts to the library board to help purchase property. In 1973, the council authorized the purchase of a 3-acre site on the corner of Westgate and Woodfield Roads for $75,000. The architectural firm Harrison & Johns was selected, and they designed the current library, 8,060 square feet, costing an estimated $33.45 per foot. Bergen Structures of Fairlawn was awarded the building contract with a low bid of $303,000 for the building we're in today. Now another major fundraising effort began. The Contemporary Women's Club gave $500 for children's furnishings, and the Friends raised another $20,000 to furnish most of the rest of the library. On moving day in 1974, volunteers of all ages pushed shopping carts and book trucks back and forth from the shopping center, moving almost 20,000 books in one day. The official dedication of this building was on November 24th, 1974. Mrs. Weidman, in her library history that she wrote, cites the following names as special contributors of time and effort: Leonard and Beatrice Adler, Robert and Gloria Andriolo, Ruth Densberger, Virginia Dupernell, Clint and Laura Dysinger, Gerald Fox, Albert Freelink Jr., Mary Gualandi, Eric and Virginia Hunt, Rosemary and Andrew Lukac, Christine Primamore, and Jack and Dolores Schumann. Well, today we have a collection of about 37,000 volumes, each of which has just been barcoded in preparation for the library's computerization. Today we have direct access to almost 350,000 different titles through our computer, and we can get almost any book a patron needs within days, except those high-demand New York Times bestsellers. Our circulation will go well over 60,000 volumes this year. Children's programs include 4 preschool story hours and occasional special parent-toddler story programs and summer evening sleepy time stories. Our programs for adults include an English as a second language program of volunteer tutors and foreign students. Currently, we have 16 pairs that meet weekly in the library. This program would not have been possible without the help of Helen Kenna, who totally organized the program and trains all of our tutors. Another special program that we offer for adults is the Computer Tutor, which offers one-to-one tutoring on word processing, spreadsheet, data processing, or any other functions on our Apple computer. Our noble volunteer, Tony Kenna, even gives lessons to me. And the library is able to charge only $3 an hour for these individualized lessons, and we will be having openings in the fall. The library still relies very heavily on volunteers who help staff the desk, enter our collection into the computer, help with inventory, organize exhibits, and do fundraising for the library. I'd like to thank these current volunteers: Wynn Mayer, Rich Niels, Julia Pagan, Evelyn Boyd, Jean Merlini, Dot Chute, Dolores Schumann, Marcia Cooper, Elvira Shepard, and Sandy Alpern, who wears 2 hats as desk volunteer and Friends president. I couldn't manage this library at all without my right hand, Juliet Sobin, who is also photographer today. And I must mention, among our best volunteers, are Florence Pittsburgh, a longtime volunteer and very loyal staff member, and Gertrude Rabidan, who donates so much of her spare time and provided us with those beautiful flags we have outside today, a longtime dream of hers. I'd like to give a special thanks to the Contemporary Women's Club, and particularly Hope Diggs, who has taken on the project of beautifying our long-neglected library grounds.
Hi, I'm Debbie Stern, Children's Librarian, and I'd like to tell you about some of the programs we have at the library for the children. 4 times a week we have story time for children 4 and 5 years of age. Tuesday afternoons we meet at 1:15 and 2:15, and Wednesday mornings we meet at 10:15 and 11:15. At story time we read, do some songs, finger plays with the children, and a simple craft. For the older children, during the summer we have our summer reading program, which runs for 10 weeks, during which the children are asked to read a book a week and do a small report on the book. At the end of the summer, we have a program with prizes, certificates, and awards for those who complete the program. Each month, I try to run a craft or entertainment program for the children. For Halloween, we're planning a mask-making program for children ages kindergarten through 6th grade. Christmas time, we'll have a Hanukkah show and craft program, and a Christmas show and craft program.
Good afternoon. This is Gloria Andriola. I am a resident of Washington Township for 25 years, and it's really a pleasure to be here to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the library. When my husband and I arrived in town, one of our friends said the first thing you should join is the library. So we took her advice, and we became very active in the library, and it's been very rewarding to us. And as my husband and I both were trustees I was for 8 years, Bob, I don't recall how many years, about 6 years. And we really were a part of the building of this library, and it makes us feel good that we were a part of it, and to see that our children have had access to a wonderful resource of this kind. And I wish the library another 100 years of success.
Thank you.
You're not going to say anything. Say something.
I don't have to. It's just it was very rewarding being here today to see just what has been accomplished over the years. When we put a lot of effort into the building of it, and it's seeing all these people enjoying it now that just makes it so worthwhile.
All right, our next speaker is Sylvia Giardina, from the Contemporary Women's Club, which was so instrumental in starting the library.
Thank you very much for asking me to address this at this fine occasion today. Congratulations. I'm very proud to be representing the Contemporary Women's Club of Washington Township today. I always knew my club was very instrumental in the growth and development of the library since I became a member, but I never realized the extent the club played in the creation of this library. They were there from the beginning, with members as part of the original library board, which banded together to request that Washington Township have its own library, and year after year were told, go to Westwood, use the Westwood Library. I can't imagine having a town without a library, especially the women of my club, most of us mothers, a place to bring your children, to help them grow and to develop through the years. We need a library, and I just can't imagine that there was ever any opposition to such a project. But these fine people persisted with carnivals and book donations and constant lobbying. The Contemporary Women's Club made the library our first major project, raising money with various fundraisers, including our annual fashion show. The library grew from a spot in the DMF garage to the administrative building's basement to a store in the back of the shopping center to its present very fine facility. The Contemporary Women's Club has continued to support the library with donations of books and other equipment, and one feature which we have through our literature department, which we make very good use of the library by choosing several books during the year which the members read and then we discuss at our meetings. When a member has a child, we donate a book to the children's library in the name of the baby. We've already presented one this year, and I'm very happy to let you know that another member is due any day now, so you'll be getting another book real soon. Okay. Through the years, we have continued with numerous projects to support the library. Our most recent project being our community improvement to sponsor a beautification project to landscape and improve the exterior of the library. We are accepting donations from town residents, other organizations in town, as well as donations from our club, and individual club members have also made donations. A plaque will be placed in the library with the names of all who donate to this worthy project. Last spring we began, Hope Diggs and her husband and Nada of our club planted some flowers, and of course due to a very hot summer we had to put a little moratorium on it because things weren't doing too well. We've begun again. We have enough money to go ahead with the project. We have a landscaper who's designed a plan, and we have the money to go ahead with it, but we also need more money, and we have more plans, and just keep it coming in. And we will hope to help in any way we can. You know we're always there for the library.
Well, thank you.
I'd just like to recognize the members of my club that have been there from the beginning and through the years. They've been very, very active in the support. Rosemary Lukac, she's in the back there. Hope Diggs, Gloria Andriolo, and another member, Rose Donatone. I don't think she's here today. Thank you.
My name is Helen Kenna, and I started the ESL program here in Washington Township in the library with the help of Nancy Green. And at the present time, we have 16 students. Most of them are Japanese, although we have one Thai, and we have an Ethiopian gal. And we enjoy working with these people very much. They're very appreciative. And I think it's a two-way street. We both learn from each other. I've learned an awful lot about their culture, and I hope that we have been teaching them English.
I'm Tony Kenna, and I'm teaching the computer course in here. I teach basic spreadsheets, database, word processing to adults who would like to have an introduction to the computer. And we give them an hour a week, and then we've had some pretty good success.
I'm Florence Pittsburgh, a longtime volunteer and now a staff member of the Washington Township Library. And this day today I have to admit it from the bottom of my heart, is the happiest day in a long time. The only thing I regret is that Louise Weedman isn't here, because she was the guiding spirit of the library from the very beginning, and even though she moved down south, her spirit has been with us all, and everyone here loved her, and I think that this day is really a dedication to Louise Weedman. And Gerald Fox was another member of the community who donated quite a bit of money and effort and everything else to making it a success when we were a little tiny hole in the wall. And it's beautiful, and I wish everybody can come more often. And please use your library. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we'll have a word from Sandy Alpern, the current president of the Friends of the Library.
Well, I feel very humble standing here hearing about all the wonderful things that the Friends used to do. As it is, now if we have a meeting on a Monday night, if we have 5 or 6 people, we consider that a really good turnout. I know that the Friends were very, very active when the library was new, and it was very, very important, but it's still important now. We really need all of you as Friends. I guess you've heard that really the Friends' function is just to raise money to support the services of the library, supplementary things. Some of the things that we have supported over the years are buying the large print books for people who have trouble, reading small print. We've sponsored the buying of the Apple II computer and some of our software, and we've been sponsoring books on tape, which is an ongoing project, which we're still sponsoring. We also sponsor programs for children and families, and we sponsor a party for the Summer Reading Club. Debbie, I still owe you money for that. We would welcome active members who would like to be members of our board or help work on projects with us, but we would also love to welcome people who just want to pay their dues and perhaps just bake for an occasional bake sale. And if you would like to join today, we'd be glad to take your contribution. There's an application for the Friends at the end of your program, I think, that you have there. That's really all I have to say. I'm just glad to see all these people here. In fact, I know that most of you know about the Friends, since I see most of you are past presidents, past board members, and I'm really glad to see everybody here today. And please join us. We'd love to see you.
Thank you, Sam.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosemary Lukac. I am one of the first past presidents of the Friends of the Library when it was organized. And also, when we did have our library, our mayor at that time was Jack Stapleton, and I was his alternate at the time our library was built. My memories of the library go way back, over 30 years ago. Before we even had thought about even having a building, we did have carnivals in town, and we had cooperation of each organization every night of the week. It was one of those things that we were going to look forward to a library. It took a while, but we finally have it, and we have a beautiful building to be thankful for. My husband is Andy Lukac, and he will tell you a little bit about some of the other people that were involved with the library at this time before we even had a building.
Thank you. I think the most prominent person that I know is Mr. Fox. Mr. Fox has been a mainstay. He was responsible for the initial contacts, and he was responsible for donating a lot of money into the cause. Fortunately, we were able to see Mr. Fox this past summer, and he conveyed his best to the librarians here and the entire community, and he's sorry that he couldn't be here today. But Mr. Fox has been behind the scenes, not too noticeable, but a driving force. And I'd like to give him proper credit. Also, the former Mayor Wilkes, that was also a friend of Mr. Fox. And there are many unmentionables, but he, to me, would be the pinnacle of the people that I remember way back. I was simply the driver supporting my wife and the entire library. I try to do my best with the mechanical and the labor part, shoving things back and forth from one place to another, doing my best there. But they were really instrumental in doing all of this.
Today we have to thank everyone that we have a wonderful librarian here, Nancy Green. We are so happy to have her here on our 25th anniversary and hope she stays here for our next 25 years. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Janet Sopkowitz from the Township Council, and I'm here representing the other members of the council to thank the library for the 25 years of service that have provided our town. Certainly has added much to the township, and we appreciate the work very much. And we have a wonderful plaque that we've prepared to show our appreciation. It will be presented to the library members when they come to our next council meeting. And I really did enjoy myself today, and it was nice to see so many residents show up to participate and to show their support for such an organization.
I have letters here from Louise Weedman and Gerald Fox. I'm not going to read the letters out loud, but they both mention how much the library meant to them, and they both worked so very hard. I understand it wouldn't have been possible to have this library without them. And now I'd be happy to introduce Mayor Wenzel, who has turned into a very loyal library supporter since he started his role as mayor in 1981.
Thank you, Nancy. You do a very good job as director, too, since you've been here. But anyway, I'd like to thank you all for coming out here today. A lot of old faces, a lot of people here that have had a very instrumental role in this library and making it come to fruition. People are more interested in intellectual pursuits than just the New York Giants or the New York Jets. But Washington Township, as we drive on Pascack Road and we look to our left and our right, if you haven't done it in a while, it's founded in 1840. It's a long time. It was the 32 square mile township that made up the Pascack Valley. And everybody thinks it's an old community. But is it really old? I have been to good fortune since 1982 to participate in the 25th anniversary of the Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the 50th anniversary of the Volunteer Fire Department. Not known to a lot of people, but in its quiet way, the 50th anniversary of the Police Department, 25th anniversary of Our Lady of Good Counsel, which many of us belong to, and those that don't know that it was a significant institution here in this town, and also the Knights of Columbus, who recently had their 25th anniversary. And now we come along to the library. And what does that mean to us as people sitting here? It means that the second generation is moving into the Township of Washington. We are a very, very new community. Most of our housing stock is brand new or in its 25th to its 35th year. And this building, which is the culmination of many people's efforts, a lot of hard effort, probably would never be built in this day and age, or if you think the battles that Mr. Adler and those people went through in 1968, long before I came here, would be nothing, because today you sit on a piece of property probably worth around $750,000, maybe even $1 million if the market was better. I won't even venture on a construction cost, but I would venture to say we couldn't do it for less than $1.5 million to $2 million. And yet somewhere back in 1973, the Township Council appropriated $300,000, and the library had to pony up another $7,000 or $8,000 to make it go and fund the ordinance to build this building, which has had its trials and tribulations over the years and condemnation, but it is a good-looking building. It's had a little roof problem, and we've attacked that, and we continue to attack it. But the thing is, it's the major facility in this community which the new generation of people that come in and take a look and look at this town and say, what is here for me besides recreation, and what is here? It makes the school system work, whether it be parochial or our public schools, which Dr. Zinzarella is here and had many years after J.L. Campbell on this board. It's a good community, and this is the shining example. And I'd like to take my hats off to everybody in this audience, because I moved into the town at the time that this building was just being built. And how much did I know in those days? I didn't even realize the library was being built at the time. The other important factor is, it was a very, very crucial situation with the Washington Lakes Association, that private group that owns and has houses in a restrictive deed situation in this area. And they fought it to the last end, and whether there was going to be a library here. And then somewhere, and I don't know who made the deal or how they made the deal, but they relented and released the restrictive covenant in their deed so that this building could be built. And our thanks, as we think back, should go back to those people, because they were far-sighted in what they brought and what they gave the Township of Washington. And what is the Township of Washington today? I take great pride here in my 7th year of what we become. There's a community going through the same thing you folks went through 20, 25 years ago in the Northern Valley. It's known as Harrington Park. They're waging a library battle today. They want to do the same thing. They want municipalization of their library. in the process of trying to get it. I've talked with some of those people. It's not an easy process. The councils are not very easy and not very reliable and don't look at these things with the greatest of wisdom. But they're a fine community, and they're just going through a process that a lot of people saw many years ago and saw the wisdom to bring this community in the forefront. And even a nicer town as the borough of Woodcliff Lake, part of the original Washington Township, they don't have a library. And they're a very fluent area, and they don't have what we have. So as we look back, we should thank these founders, some of which you here today, some of you that had a very instrumental role for what we have. And I think as we look to the future, realize the second generation of these people that come to this community and buy the homes on the resale market don't know the gift that you've given them. And I think it's a wonderful tribute to the founding people of this community to have gone to this basis, put up this structure, and it really contributes to what I consider the Township of Washington, finest residential community in the Pascack Valley. And I think it's a tribute to everybody that's done it. So keep up the good work, be proud of what you've done. You haven't been forgotten, and keep telling people what it was like in the old days. They'll remember. Thank you.